Yo, what's happening, everybody? I appreciate you guys checking in. Another Sunday, same results. But I'll be honest with you, I think the mass majority of us may not be too disappointed if we look at Tankathon and where we sit now when it comes to. And Robert Pena, you in the building, you already talking about it, and we're gonna bring it up. We're gonna definitely take a look at it. But look, game day, same Sunday, same result. But we're definitely gonna break this thing down. We're gonna bring up the presser. All right, so we'll definitely take a look at the presser. We're going to talk about the defense. We're going to talk about Aidan O'Connell. Obviously, Desmond Ridder came in. We're going to bring up the stat lines, the box score. We'll kind of take a look at that. And then we're going to talk about no Brock Bowers, and we're going to talk about Sincere McCormick. You know, there are definitely some things that we can take from this game and kind of look at some of the brighter spots going into the 2025 season, because that's kind of where we're at right now, because we 2-11. But on a brighter side, it gives me a reason to kind of drink a little early on Sunday. So, Chris,
exactly.
Here's for you, man. But yeah, Chris, Protect the Show podcast. How you feeling, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, it was good to see the same fight hard. You know how we are in our tankathon mode. We did get a little help today from good old Jacksonville, but yeah, overall it was still, you know, we came up short. The team was fighting. Still some sloppy play, but at the end of the day, I'm doing okay. And I won my parlay, so you know I'm always good, man.
Yeah, you did. We're gonna talk about just a little bit of the bets, all right? Because I mean, obviously, with our Raiders, like you said, sloppy play, a bunch of miscues. I took a ton of notes throughout the game, and we're gonna talk about it. You know, shout to some people in the chat. I'm about to bring you guys up, but Clifford the Black Raider, you said no flag on the AOC push. Yes, and so we're gonna talk about that. But you know, big thing. As we let kind of people trickle in. Unfortunately, Severe can't be with us today, but his boys playing in his own youth football.
Super Bowl, yes, sir.
Super Bowl, man. Shout to him. I haven't been able to reach out and see how he did, but you know, big shout out to Severe, man. Hopefully his boy pulls off the Super Bowl, and man, maybe he will, because apparently we found out the team that his son is playing is the Raiders.
The Raiders, yeah.
So I'll tell you right now, man. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I think it was a sloppy game, and I put that on the shoulders of Antonio Pierce. You know what I'm saying? And the miscues and everything. What we saw at the tail of last season was we saw a very disciplined football team. And we've seen almost the complete opposite this entire year. And to me, that is 100% on the shoulders of the head coach. And so that's kind of what I take from this game a little bit. We're definitely going to go and get into it. But let's first and foremost give a shout out to the chat. Dre, for sure, you're always in here, man. I appreciate you coming through. Robert Pena in the building as well. Clifford,
Clifford,
the Black Raider. Shout out to you a little bit earlier. Frank Perez in the building. Turf
in the building.
Guys, and make sure you guys go hit up Turf's channel as well. Make sure you guys subscribe over there. Always hitting you guys. I think, Turf, you went live for the entire game, which good for you. Good for you. I don't know if I'd be able to go live for an entire Raider game the way we play. So.
For sure. Turf.
I might not be good to do these lives, man. I'll be drinking so goddamn much watching those games live.
Hey, but shout out to Turf, man. Turf has a unique personality, man, where he's just always happy and friendly and inviting. I don't got that personality, but Turf does. So he's built for that, man. And he does a great job, man. That's my dog.
Yeah, man. Turf's good people. He's always positive. Even if it's going to shit, he's gonna find something to rock with. Steve Aurelian, I appreciate you coming in the building as well. As people trickle in, man, again, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, go to Chris Protect the Show podcast.
Hit them thumbs.
I'm Real Talk Raider Nation 805 Raider. I appreciate all you guys in the building. But as we let kind of people trickle in, I don't know if you guys saw the presser. It's a short presser. I'm going to bring it up here in just a second. The report, just so you guys know, the beat writers and the reporters might be a little hard to hear. Antonio Pierce in the very beginning might be a little hard to hear, but it picks up a little bit. But we're definitely going to break down this presser. I'm going to hit you guys with it right now, and we'll come on the opposite side and kind of break this thing down. And so let's jump into this presser real quick. Again, it's short, but we're going to rock it.
Anything on Aidan?
Yeah, it doesn't look good. Does not look good.
Did you get an explanation on the push and why maybe it wasn't called?
They're not. Reacts per usual. We'll make a report. See what it comes back on Monday or Tuesday.
On that?
I saw it late on the replay.
Could you talk about Sincere continues to emerge and play well?
Yeah, more carries, more opportunities, making the most out of it. Some gritty runs down there on short yardage, running tough, running behind his pads. O-line did a good job in the run game as well. At least it looked better than what it looked like in the last couple of weeks.
You guys had a rough start today. What did you see out there as far as the first quarter?
There was some third downs there, some short yards on that first series. Obviously, got to get them off the ball there, or get them off the field, excuse me. And then offensively, we had 3 and out and short field again. And then obviously got up. But I think the more important part is we were resilient. Guys bounced back really strong in the second quarter to make the game close going into half.
14-0. Nothing was going your way. Your team dug in and found a way to fight back. I mean, what does it say about the team?
Yeah, there's grit, effort. I mean, none of that stuff we can really argue. We can, but I'm not proud of how these guys keep competing. Regardless of who goes down, next man up, and it continues to be our story.
This did seem like the defense hasn't been forcing turnovers today. They were able to do that. I guess, is that progress on that side of the ball?
Thought it was really good, especially early against a really good quarterback. Was able to get the ball off of him. First forced fumble and fumble recovery for us. And, guys, really just attacking the ball, especially when we were down. We needed those plays to get us back in the game, and I thought they stepped up.
I don't know how much more you can say about Brock Bowers. You said everything all year long, but he did set a record today for a rookie tight end reception.
Yeah, he's having a great individual year. Wish it could lead to more success for our team.
It's got to be frustrating. What's your message to the team right now after
Just kind of what I told you. Appreciate the effort, the grit, the fight. Listen, it's tough, and these guys they're not flinching, they're blinking, they still believe. Again, got the ball right down there at the end of the game, and how this will go. We're gonna go for it. Otherwise, keep the field going, and hope the defense get a stop and score and go for 2. But didn't go that way. But these guys compete their asses off. Nobody wants to get on the field. You see Max. Doesn't matter if he's on 1 leg, 2 legs. All those guys are fighting till the very end. Proud of the effort. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Like I said, short and sweet. I mean, and what's tough is he's just got kind of a little, I don't know what it is, man. With AP, he's got a little smirk on his face.
Like I know.
It's like it's like in his mind, he's thinking the same thing we've been saying. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what do we do at this point? And so we're gonna break down this presser. Appreciate everybody else coming in the building. Capitan Rafi, I appreciate you coming in the building. Michael Smith in the building as well. Yeah, I appreciate you coming through, man. Always good seeing you. So let's do this again. Everybody in the Cool Kev coming in the building. Always
cool
good.
Kev, what up?
So I mean, here's my thing is, and we're gonna bring up the stats as well. Let's first talk about Brock Bowers. All right, we kind of want to take this in pieces, but yeah, Brock Bowers broke a record, right? Broke a record, rookie receptions, which is awesome, which is amazing. But the thing is that, and I said this kind of in my post game, my pregame breakdown of this is, if the offense can do anything, feed the ball to Brock Bowers, because we need to push for this kid to be the offensive rookie of the year. I mean, he is in that conversation. As of right now, without question, I think he is the number 1 tight end in the league. I mean, that's what he is, and that's what he does. But I want to see Brock Bowers to get double-digit targets. I want to see 6 to 8 catches, but we just could not get him the ball. I want to break down the film and just kind of see what is going on. But man, I'll tell you right now, we needed to get the ball to Brock Bowers, and it just didn't work out, man. Chris, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. I think if I remember right, I believe the whole first quarter, he didn't get the ball at all. It was just one of those things where, our offense has to go through him. He has to be the one that is our first look. At the end of the day, we just didn't get it to him, early and often. But once we did start getting it to him, we started moving the ball. So we just got to continue to figure out ways to be creative, keep him in the game plan and keep him going, man. But shout out to him. He's definitely a stud. Should be rookie of the year. they'll probably try to give it to a quarterback, just knowing how they usually do that that award, man. But shout out to Brock. He's definitely a beast.
And you're right. I mean, it most likely will end up going to a quarterback like Jaden Daniels. Yeah, he had a little bit of a kind of a sluggish few weeks, but then he popped off last week. I think he went for I forget what the exact stats were, but he popped off, kind of got back to his regular form last week. And if he continues the ball, there's a really good chance it's probably going to go to Jaden Daniels. But don't you know what I'm saying? Don't take it away from Brock. I mean, continue to feed it to him if you can. But we got to make a statement, because you, as a professional football player, you have one opportunity in your entire career to be the rookie player of the year. That's it. One time, one chance. We can't screw it up for him. And so we got to make sure we feed him the ball and kind of make that statement for him. So, and then let's talk about Sincere McCormick, right? We're going to keep it positive to start before we kind of get into the stat line. But let's talk about Sincere McCormick, man, because that again, in my pregame breakdown of it, I want to see Sincere McCormick. He had 12 carries for 64 yards against the Chiefs, right? I want to see him get at least 15.
Yeah.
15 touches. It looked like not only were we handing off the ball to him, but we were also getting him kind of in the passing game.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so I like the fact that we continue to feed him. Now, mind you, it didn't really we moved the ball a little bit with him. I think we tried, and our offense came out real flat, which is not surprising, but we definitely fed it to him, man. What's your thoughts on Sincere McCormick?
Yeah, man. Sincere runs hard, man. And I love, he's never going down from the first tackle. It seems like his yards after contact is good. We got to keep giving him the ball. And one thing, I feel like he's shifty enough, so he catches the ball in space, makes guys miss. He finds a hole and go. I definitely want to see him get more touches, but at the end of the day, we have to continue to stay balanced. But I do want to, I think he got 15 touches a day, at least running the ball. So, and I know he threw a couple more to him, but the dude runs tough, man. He runs tough, and I'm excited to continue to see more out of him, because he definitely has exceeded expectations for me, and he's still young. So I like to see him stay healthy and keep balling.
Yeah, man. Shout out to my boy Turf, man. Turf's been all about Sincere McCormick.
He has. That's been his guy. That's been his guy.
So, I mean, shout out to you, man. Turf, I think you're feeling a little bit better about your boy Sincere McCormick just kind of getting his touches and getting his love. And so, shout out to the chat, guys. Remember, if you guys have something you guys want me to pull up, I know some of you guys are already talking about Aidan O'Connell, who the next quarterback's going to be. We just showed AP's presser, and he said it doesn't look good. I mean, when you put someone in an air cast, that means you're trying to make sure that thing stays stiff, right?
Yep.
And you're not trying to move it. So something definitely happened. We'll definitely talk about just that late hit and just kind of what that means and kind of our take on it. But again, shout out to everybody in the chat. I appreciate you guys. Let's go ahead and bring up the stats, and we'll talk about Sincere a little more. Chris, you wanted to take a look at kind of his touches, but let's talk about Aidan O'Connell first. Aidan O'Connell, he goes 11 of 19, 104 yards, and one interception. Should have had another interception.
Yep.
That one interception was brutal down in the red zone. And so, and I know that Aidan O'Connell, he kind of came up limping earlier in the game. So I don't know how much that knee was bothering him beforehand. Maybe that late hit push in the back, it hit it perfectly and it made it that much worse. But it looked like he was limping a little bit before. But man, I'm telling you, Aidan O'Connell needed to string together some good games. He had a very good game against Kansas City, and he needed to string together a couple of good games because this Buccaneers secondary was suspect.
Oh, they're depleted. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Antoine Winfield went out. I mean, and plus they don't have the best pass defense anyway. So I thought going into this game, O'Connell was going to have a chance to really at least have some chances. So it was tough to see kind of what transpired.
Exactly. And that's here's the biggest thing is I understand he's not the most mobile guy, but at the same time, if you hurt your knee, and I forget what knee it was, I couldn't remember. Chat, let me know if you guys remember what knee it was. It looked like his left, maybe.
I thought it was his right, but it
it's
may
right.
be his left. It may be.
But here's the thing, though: if it's his right, him being a right-handed quarterback, that's where your power comes from, right? That's where you're going to plant your foot and you're going to try to get that ball out. And man, if it was his right knee and that was what was bothering him, I understand kind of why some of those passes, came out a little soft, didn't have the zip like we normally could see out of Aidan O'Connell. And so when there's so much you compensate for if your right knee is hurt and you cannot get any push or any drive off that back leg, it throws everything, your mechanics, everything off. And so, but Aidan O'Connell, he gets hurt. In AP, he said in his presser, it didn't look good. Apologize, guys, if you couldn't hear it clearly, but AP right in the beginning said it doesn't look good. And so that means that there's a good chance it's going to be Desmond Ridder. The next guy that we got on deck is Carter Bradley, which I think he's on the practice squad, so we're going to have to bring him up.
Yeah.
And so I'm just looking at the chat. Again, chat, let me know whether or not it was his right or left knee, if you guys remember. But chat, let me know. If Aidan O'Connell's gone, if he's out, which it looks like he is it going to be the Desmond Ridder show or is it going to be the Carter Bradley show? Because Desmond Ridder came out and threw that floater, which should have been picked. I don't think it was. I think they rolled it incomplete. But Chris, man, what's your thoughts? I mean, if Aidan O'Connell goes down, who's going to be the starter?
Yeah, to me, I think you got to go with you got to go with Bradley at this point. I think we've seen kind of what Ridder could do. I know it's just been a small sample size, but Bradley's been because let's keep it real. Even though we have the Turners, kind of running the show on offense, they're still this is still under the whole Luke Getsy umbrella. Because they can't do a complete restart of offense, so they kind of tweaking things that's kind of already under the Getsy scheme. And I mean, Bradley's been here since the offseason. He's been here since being picked up as a non-drafted free agent. So I say give the kid a shot, man. He had a pretty good preseason. We saw some good things from him. He's a son of a coach. At this point, what do we have to lose? Maybe this guy may be someone that we can have as a backup in the future. Give him a shot. At the end of the day, because Ridder, we know Ridder's not going to move the needle. Let's at least use these last few games for 100% evaluation. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
That's one of the things to keep in mind, right? We got 4 games left.
Right.
4 games left. That's it. I'll take a look at the schedule real quick just to kind of see, because who's up next? Let's see. We got on deck.
Is it the Saints? No, the Saints is no. We
got the Jags. No, I'm sorry, Falcons.
Okay, Falcons.
Then we got
Jags. Then Saints. Yeah. Then Chargers after that.
Hey, and that Falcons secondary is absolute trash. So if you want to give somebody a decent look, you're not going to throw them into just the Wolves. Maybe you do start Carter Bradley. John B, you starting shit with everybody today. You got your goddamn mind, John B. The hell out of here. John Leon in the building. I appreciate you. Appreciate everybody coming in the building as well. We're just kind of going over the box scores, some of the stats. Cool Kev, you're saying Dirty Desmond all the way.
Yes.
Here's my thing is Steve Aurelia looks like Chris, he's on your side as well. So here's my thing is Carter Bradley's gonna have to come up from the practice squad because I think he's been on the practice squad. There's a good chance you probably give him a week because when you come up from the practice squad, you're not running Scott Turner's offense. You know what I'm saying? Like you're
Yeah,
trying
you're being what the opposite quarterback's doing.
Yeah, you're trying to
You're
give him
getting the
a look.
defense ready. Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to give the defense a look, and so, but he's in, he's in the practice squad. He's on the practice squad. He's in the quarterback room. He's understanding what the offense wants to do. But I think at the same time, I think we have 4 games left. Maybe you start Desmond Ridder next week. Again, you're going against, and shit, it's Desmond Ridder's opportunity to kind of go up against his old Falcons team. So you never know what that could do. But I think maybe you go with Desmond Ridder for 1 week, and but you have Carter Bradley ready. And if Desmond Ridder just shits the bed, not looking good, then you throw the young kid in, and you got basically 3.5 games just to kind of be like, all right, show us what you can do, and maybe you're a third stringer next year.
Exactly.
Keep you on the practice squad. The only concern that I have with going with Carter Bradley is, man, if you run the risk of hospital balls, if you have that situation where he just is struggling to get the ball to Brock Bowers, I think Desmond Ridder is a quarterback that if you have the sole purpose of getting the ball to Brock Bowers, then maybe Desmond Ridder is your guy. So
yeah, I mean, but it's not like Desmond's out there throwing dimes either. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Honestly, it might be better just having someone who knows the system, to be quite honest. So I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, with Desmond Ridder, even if he wants to drop back and throw the ball 20 times,
yeah,
15 of your attempts better go to Brock Bowers. You know what I'm saying? Like just feed him the rock and make another statement for him being the rookie player of the year. That's kind of what I'd love to see.
Yeah.
Jared for sure, he basically says,
you see what John said? He's funny.
Which one?
John B. Because apparently he wasn't here in the beginning when we started off. No, go the one
next one
below. Yeah, like I literally won $1,000 parlay today.
I know. Hey,
clown. Dude's a
clown. I went 5 for 5 yesterday. I didn't do too good today. All right, I'll throw it out there. I went 5 for 5 yesterday. All right, so
okay, we can ignore him for the rest of the time. But I just saw that and wanted to laugh.
John B. God damn it. Yeah, Jared for sure. Ridder is the tank quarterback. Yeah, and shit, Carter Bradley would be too. I mean, you don't expect anything out of Carter Bradley. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Frank Perez says that's all Ridder does, throw hospital balls.
Right.
Yeah.
You say
I don't want Jacoby playing quarterback. He probably was our third stringer today. Honestly,
probably.
You know what I'm saying? So, but let's look real quick. Let's go over to. All right, let's talk about Sincere McCormick. Rashad on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you got Rashad White. He was 17 carries for 90 yards. He did some work.
He did.
Sean Tucker, he had that one long run at the tail end of the game that just, put the nail in the coffin. It was the Mike Evans catch. That's when the defense just kind of, you could just tell they were done. They were gassed. But let's talk about Sincere McCormick, man. This kid 100% has earned himself more opportunity. And like I said just a moment ago, he got 12 carries last week. He got 15 for 78 yards. That's a hell of an outing against a pretty good front seven of that Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. They have a good defensive line, that Vita Vea in the middle. I think Kalijah County was actually out this week. I don't think he played.
Who?
Kalijah?
No, he was out there.
Was he out there?
Yeah, he was out there. Yeah.
I thought I saw in the beginning of the game they were showing that he was out. Unless it was that he missed a handful of games this year.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely a tough front four to run on, but you could just tell Sincere McCormick is able to see the holes develop.
Oh yeah, he's patient.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's something that we didn't see. We saw very little out of Alexander Mattson, and we saw nothing of Zamir White. And so that's one of the things I love seeing about Sincere McCormick is that he's seeing the holes develop, he's hitting it, and he's just finding that sliver in the offensive line, and it's helping out this offensive line. So, Chris, I'll throw it to you, man. What's your thoughts on Sincere?
Yeah, no, just like I said earlier, man. The dude, he makes guys miss. And he runs with that passion. You know, the guys are not taking him down easily. You know, usually one guy isn't taking him down. And he has enough shiftiness to kind of win those one-on-one battles anyway, man. So if the guy can stay healthy, you know, I say let's continue building off of him. I'm all for it, man. So that was one of the few times that I've been wrong. He's a guy that, you know, I wasn't necessarily high on, but I am, you know, with him. I think he's still real young. So to see what he can do, we might have us a diamond in the rough there.
He is young, and I think what Sincere brings to the table. Now, look, I think, in my opinion, the verdict is still out that he's he's a lead back.
Oh yeah, I don't think
he's the starter.
Yeah,
but he is definitely potentially a good change of pace back, right? A guy that you still can get 7 to 8 carries a game at least. If we have a premier running back in there, because the thing is that if Zamir White isn't it, which he's not, but he also was supposed to be that short yardage back, which when you got no vision, you got to find just that sliver on the offensive line to be able to get those 2 yards, 3 yards when you need it. And he's not it. He just puts his head down and puts his helmet in the back of our offensive lineman.
Yeah, but even then, even as strong as he appears, I mean, it's not even like he breaks tackles. That's the thing.
Correct.
Like, for one, he doesn't have the vision, and it's not like he breaks the tackles anyway. So, you know, it'd be different if he was like a Zach Crockett. Like, at least if someone hits him in the backfield, he'll drag you a little bit. He doesn't even do that.
No, he doesn't. And that's my thing. And chat, let us know if you think Sincere McCormick does have the potential or chance to be that feature back. Let us know. I'll definitely bring it up on the screen. But you know, I think Sincere, he could be the change of pace back if we get that feature back. I think he has a really good chance, and he's got 3 more games or 4 more games to prove it. He's got a really good chance to be in this running back room next year and find himself a solidified spot. You could get him for a very inexpensive contract. I don't know if this is his last year. I think we brought him up from the practice squad.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to sign him to a contract. You could easily sign him for 1 year. You know, 1 year minimal contract. Keep him in the building. You know, people aren't going to be jumping at him to sign him. So, you know, give him a decent deal and keep him in that running back room. And so I'd like to see it. Anytime a practice squad player comes up, you definitely got to give him credit.
And he'll always have that chip on his shoulder. But the biggest thing for me is, man, how healthy can he stay? That's for one. That's the main reason why, you know, he's not going to be there to be a RB1. But again, he could be in a rotation. But if I remember correctly, I think the past 2 years he came off of some injuries. So it's all about him being healthy and staying healthy. So that's what's going to be what can hold him back.
Yeah, John Leone says, JJ who?
Hey, calm down.
We starting it early. I love it.
JJ about to be all pro this year. Calm down.
JJ who? We got Judo Joe Black in the building. I appreciate you coming through. He says McCormick is more of a 1B type. Yeah, I agree. I think he's more of a complimentary back than anything, change of pace type of back. Jerry for show, man, you said if we had the number 1 pick, would you trade down like pick 3 or 4? All right, man, you're starting a whole nother conversation.
We talked about that.
Let me drift. Sure. Let me hold that up until we kind of get out of these stats. But I'll definitely. I'll start, and yeah, we've definitely given our opinion. We'll share it again. First window in the building. I appreciate you. Thing is with Zamir is that he's all muscle up above. I guarantee his knees are bad, hence why he's so easy to take down. Yeah, I mean, you remember that picture? Remember that picture in the off season? I mean, just all upper.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Raider Nation was going crazy about that. Him and what's his name? Tyree Wilson. I mean, I'm like, guys, you guys realize like biceps really don't mean nothing as far as strength in football. Like it means nothing, man. Like, remember how big Trent Richardson was? Like, who cares, man? Who cares?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I just want to make sure I'm Myra G in the building. I appreciate you coming up.
Myra Jeezy.
Joe Barber in the building as well. Let's go. Judah Black says Ashton Gentry in the second round would be premium. I don't know if he falls the second round.
He does not fall in the second round. That dude's cold.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a team that's going to pull the trigger early. He might be a top 10 pick, even though it's not popular for running backs to go that early. I mean, he's pretty damn good.
I think that narrative's starting to change about, like I know they tried these last few years to diminish the value of a running back, but I think you look at what Saquon has done, with his new team, what King Henry's done with his new team, of course, JJ, what he's done with his new team, Mixon, what he's done with his new team. I think teams are going to start second guessing that thought of running back not being valuable. So, they may not overpay for it, but I think if there's a guy in the first round that's worth the first round, they'll go get him, especially him, because that guy has some special talent.
Yeah, no, he does. And so the only thing I'll add to it is that you got to be in a situation offensively where that's all you need as a running back to pick somebody that high.
Yeah, you gotta have all the other pieces. Yeah,
exactly. Like if your team is if your offense is just missing that running back, and that could be that deciding factor. I think that's possibly why, that's why Green Bay went after Josh Jacobs. They knew they had all those pieces, and they just needed that running game, right? So I think that's where a team will pull the trigger very early. You got Harvey B. Jackson in the building. Give Labe the rock the next 4 games. I do want to see him get some touches. You know what I'm saying? He's a young kid. So you kind of give him some experience. I don't think Amir Abdullah will be with us next year.
No, he was on his way out anyway. I think he more or less got signed for a leadership standpoint. Since we lost JJ, I think he provides good leadership in that room.
Absolutely, and a solid third down back. But I think he's up there in age. I don't think we bring him back. But I would see, give Dylan Labe some, maybe 3-4 touches a game in certain situations, just kind of see what the kid does. Because right now it's evaluation time.
Yeah.
And so let's see. I want to make sure any more comments on the running backs. Dixon Sider in the building. I appreciate you coming up as well. You're saying before they said still need a running back in the draft. I think we do
for sure.
Target one. The hype Sincere gets reminds me of the hype Zamir got last season.
And that's what we got to be scared of. That's what that. And that's why I want to make sure he's doing well, but we need to find a guy. We need to find a guy. We let JJ go. A lot of you guys are happy about it. We're starting to figure out that running backs don't just grow on trees. Let's go find a guy, because people don't realize how much that helps your quarterback. That really helps your quarterback. So if we go get a nice young QB in this draft, we need to pair him with a guy that can be a threat behind the backfield. Yeah,
and Arnie Garza in the building. I appreciate you coming through as well. Hey, wherever you guys are at, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. I got Chris Protect the Show podcast down below. I'm Real Talk Raider Nation 805 Raider. I appreciate you, all you guys pulling up. We try to hit you guys after the game and kind of talk about the game and our takes, but also interact with you guys. I appreciate all you guys in the chat. Dre, for sure, remember, I'm going to take a note and remind me if I don't. We're going to talk about the draft and what we do in the end. But Michael Mayer, 7 catches, 68 yards. Jacoby Myers, 7 catches, 67 yards. Brock Bowers, again, we already talked about him. Had to get him involved. I want to take a look at the tape and just see kind of what happened there. Because if you remember back when we played the Broncos the first time, everybody lost their shit because Brock Bowers disappeared.
Yeah,
but we broke down the film, and the problem is Luke Getsy at the time actually schemed Brock Bowers open 3-4 times in that second half, and Gardner Minshew just did not pull the trigger.
Yeah,
and was looking right at him. And so, is that the case? Is it Scott Turner not getting him open? Or is it potentially Aidan O'Connell just not seeing him? So I definitely want to break that down, and I'll check out the game film. And so, but Michael Mayer, man, he came back, 7 receptions, 68 yards.
Out.
Always good seeing him, and that was the one parlay I missed. I could have got him for just 2 catches, minus 110. Yeah. I was like.
But it's hard because it's like you don't expect Brock to have a quote unquote down day. Yeah. Some of those prop bets I stay away from, man, especially with the Raiders.
Yeah, no, but I thought, with Aidan O'Connell having the chemistry with him last year and
Good
stuff,
point.
I was like,
Yeah,
man,
good point, good
okay.
point.
And it was just 2 catches, but you just never know. And as soon as the game started, they announced that the Bucs defense had their 2 starting linebackers out. I was like, oh shit, I should have
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, they were out, and when Winfield went out, and I'm like, Aidan might have a day, honestly.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, when it comes to the receivers, it's tough. Aidan O'Connell had a bad day. Desmond Ridder steps in, has a bad day. And really no deep ball, right? We tried to go deep to Trey Tucker one time to start the game. And here's the one thing I want to touch on. Like, again, we already talked about Brock Bowers. Trey Tucker. He had 1 catch last week, and that was the deep ball for a touchdown.
Yeah.
What I'm starting to get with Trey Tucker is that some guys are fast. I get it. You got speed. Some guys don't know how to use that speed properly. And I'm starting to get that feeling with Trey Tucker is like he just doesn't you could be fast, but if you're not a good route runner to combine that, you're not going to get open.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm starting to get with Trey Tucker.
Yeah. See, now I feel you. I feel you on that. I think only thing with Trey though, it's like I just feel like it's a chemistry that's not there. I feel like he gets separation though. And again, we might have to look at the tape a little bit more, specifically on him. But yeah, I don't know, man, because like I know what you're talking about. Like, I don't see him as like, what was that guy that went to Cincinnati that had that fat, like what was his name? John Ross. Remember him?
Ross. Hey, that guy was dirty. That guy was nasty. Yeah,
but he was just fast though. He was just fast.
Yeah.
But he couldn't run no routes and he got no separation. Now I feel like Trey Tucker is like a way better athlete. I feel like he's a better route runner, but it just seems like him and the quarterback is never on the same page. Now get him with a real quarterback. I'm not ready to give up on Trey yet. I guess I'm saying all that to say that. Like I get where you're coming from because with his speed, he should be having some opportunity, and we're just not seeing it.
Yeah. And Del McGrew Taylor's the Groove Zone. Appreciate you coming in the building. Y'all still want to pass on Sanders? Hey,
Don't say y'all.
Dre, for show, this is kind of what I'm gonna hit you with, and I think you heard me talk about it. If we're sitting at number 1, I'm passing on Sanders, and I'll tell you guys why later on. So I'll kind of give you a sneak peek on how I feel about it. But when it comes to passing him, that's one of my concerns is, man, Trey Tucker's supposed to be that guy that could take the top off the defense. That's going to, stretch that defense out. And so it's hard because, again, when we break down film, I'm just not seeing the separation I think he should have. So I'm with you. I'm not giving up on him. I'm just saying that's a concern I have as it stands right now. Is he truly that deep threat, that speedster? Because he ain't a tall guy. It's not like he's going to beat you deep, but all of a sudden he's going to win that 50-50 ball.
Yeah.
That's what we need,
man. That's what we need. We need one of those, what was his name? Robbie Anderson type dude. It's like a 6'5" speed dude or but yeah, man, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I think it's just because I like Trey because it seems like he's a hard worker. It seems like he's good in the locker room. So I want him to be successful. But and I know when Devontae was there, he really kind of worked a lot with him as far as his route running and wanted to have the full route tree. Yeah. So I just want to see him with the competent quarterback.
Yeah, and Joe Barber, you're saying need a good. I'm guessing you're saying need a good coach to establish a rookie quarterback. You need a good coach that could either be the guy to establish, or you better build yourself a coaching staff that can establish. And so I'm with you, but that's my biggest concern looking at the receiver core. Let's jump down to the defense real quick, and then we'll
let's talk about it.
Let's talk about the defense, and then we'll kind of wrap up the stats, and we'll kind of get into the other topics. I know everybody's talking about the quarterback, so look, guys, we will talk about college quarterbacks. I got a couple people in here. I got where was that? Raider Paul, you're saying Dylan Gabriel.
Look, we could trade down to get him for sure.
Like I can't look. We're gonna get into it, okay?
Yeah.
You guys are still the topic.
Shout out to
of the
Raider Paul,
goddamn-
though. That's my guy, man. I'm just glad
Yeah.
to see Raider Paul in a good mindset. He about jumped off a cliff a few months ago. Shout out to Paul. That's my boy.
And so let's see. The chase on. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about defense, Jerry, for show. Just letting you know. And so here's the thing: is salute to Jeff, any Raider Bruce.
What's going on, man?
Appreciate you coming in the building. I think 100% Caleb Chasen did enough to garner another contract. 100%. You look at what he did today with that interception. He's been doing it week in, week out. Here's the one question, though, and this is what I'll present to the chat. And Chris, I'll let you kind of soak on this one while I kind of break it down. But you got Malcolm Kuntz coming off of a season-ending injury before week 1.
Mm-hmm.
We have Max Crosby, which is we want him to be a lifelong Raider, right? He's gonna garner a big contract every single time contract talks come up. So you got a high-paid defensive end. Now you got a high-paid interior defensive lineman in Christian Wilkins.
Yeah.
Do you dump because Malcolm Kuntz coming off of his injury is still going to he's going to ask for a decent contract.
I don't think it's going to be crazy, though. I don't think it's going to be crazy.
It may not be crazy, but the thing is
unless he wants to move on. Now, if he wants to really test free agency, because he might be done with the Raider theatrics as well. That's what a lot of people's not understanding. Like all this like hoopla and the function that we're showing, like they're seeing some of their peers that left going to other teams, and that's going to be playing in the playoffs. People like Malcolm Kuntz may be like, I'm not giving a hometown discount.
Well, but here's the thing, though. It's also he's now going to be a free agent. Like when he was going to play, right?
Yeah.
Let's say he played this season, and he all of a sudden maybe starts the season, first 10 games, maybe he's got 8 sacks or what have you, right? You're going to want to try to extend him prior to the season ending.
Yeah.
Now he's going to ride his way into the offseason.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a team that's going to overpay most likely. There's going to be that desperate team because every team needs an edge rusher or a counter to their edge rusher. And there's going to be a team that maybe doesn't have an edge rusher and is going to just overpay a little bit just to get him in the building. And that's what's going to kind of bump up his price tag, I think, in my opinion. Because you got the stupid teams like the Cowboys that might try to do something stupid or, like you always have the dumb teams.
You're right. I think that we got to be careful for the Colts and Gus Bradley, someone like that, because I don't think a lot of the NFL. I mean, I know they got scouts everywhere, but I guarantee it's someone like that really knows him, that's coached him before, that knows he's right now. Because right now he's still kind of underrated. We love him as Raider fans, but throughout the NFL, I don't think he's really known yet. But I bet someone like Gus Bradley, but like. That dude is still a diamond in the rough, and I can get the most out of him. And he might like Gus Bradley. I don't know, but I get what you're saying.
And that's the thing is like you bring on Caleb Chasen for a discount deal, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to go off and all of a sudden get this multi-million-dollar contract. It ain't going to happen because he was cut by his previous team. He came over. Yes, he's doing some work, but I would overpay when you're still getting someone at a very cheap contract. And if you can continue to produce the way he is, then you have enough now because the other aspect to this is that we're going to have so much salary cap space next season.
Right.
That at the end of the day, you can go ahead and allocate some of that money to the offensive side where we need a lot of help.
For sure.
Where you can get a high-paid offensive guard to come in, replace Parham. You can get yourself another high-paid or high-caliber receiver to counter Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. And look, depending on the quarterback, everybody wants to talk about quarterback. What if you bring in a veteran quarterback to be that bridge quarterback next season? You want to pay a little bit more to kind of keep us competitive and have that quarterback sit for a little bit. It's all about like once you kind of put on that mindset and that hat of this is a business.
Right.
And you got to be mindful of where you're allocating money. Our offense needs help. And
Yeah.
our defense has a bunch of studs that will come back. I think we should bring back Trayvon Merrick. I think he deserves it. I'll be honest. There's a damn good chance we might be looking for another corner. Because Jack
Hobbs.
Jones.
Oh yeah.
Jack
Well,
Jones.
Jones got it. He has another year, right? He's another year, isn't he?
I think he's another year. It's a cheap contract.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do I want another year Jack Jones on the field? Because I'll tell you right now, over the last few weeks,
he's a liability sometimes.
He's getting exposed. And he got exposed today. And so, it's where do you allocate that money? And so that's what I proposed to the chat. Do we bring Malcolm Kuntz back? Do we try to reach out to him, given the fact that it might end up being a little bit of a bidding war to go after him? We might have to end up overpaying a little bit, but would either hold that money and allocate that to other places if K'Lavon Chasen continues to ball. Like that's
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I again, I always scream when I look at Chase, and I said this early before a lot of people were on him, that it's his motor. Like you can see that the dude's out there, he's flying around. Now he was making a lot of mental mistakes as far as like jumping off sides and doing this, but I'm okay with those aggressive plays where you're, those hustle plays. I can live with that. Because that's not what we're getting in someone like a Tyree Wilson. So Chase, I'm all good with him. I'm like, I want more people like him on the field. But I think one thing that we do have to talk about that's going to be a real conversation, because we're thinking about we have a lot of money, but we got to think about the guys that we're going to bring back. So I know before the season started, we were like, Diablo, are we going to do that? I'm out on Diablo as far as bringing him back. I mean, unless it's something like such a hometown discount, but I'm pretty much ready to let that go. But Trayvon Merrick, I think especially him in the box, he's flying around, showing he has value. But I think the question is Nate Hobbs. Going into the season, I was like Nate Hobbs for sure. I don't know where I'm standing in Nate Hobbs. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm on the fence, man, because he can't stay healthy. What's your thoughts on that?
And I'm with you. Like prior to his injury, and prior to his injury, I think it was without question I want to bring him back.
Yeah,
without question. Because getting a good slot corner is one of the hardest things to do, and one of the hardest things to draft. And so, I prior to the injury, want to bring him back, but now it's tough because if you are so injury prone, what's the point? Unless he comes back for a team friendly deal.
That's what I'm saying.
Then you have
exactly. That's what's, because the thing is, going into season, I love Hobbs, man, and I still like him, man. It's just he always stays hurt. Like, okay, he said you have to pay Hobbs. No, I get that, but my question is, with Hobbs, if we really think about it, Hobbs is very limited. We tried him on the outside. He can't play outside. Now, there's a lot of corners that can play inside or out. He showed us that he really can't play on the outside. That I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like I don't know, because cornerback is starting to become a higher paid position, man. Like that bag is starting to run up, man. I don't know, man. And he doesn't seem like he's going to be one that's going to be willing to take a discount. I can't depend on him for 15 games, man.
Yeah. And so here's the thing, right? Larry Fleming, you say bring back Kuntz, back to the incentives based on bonuses and performance. Again, if he agrees to that, again, I think it's going to be a little bit of a bidding war that might bring it up. But let's go, Jeff. Show we need to draft a corner. I mean, I think we do. I'm telling you, I think Jack Jones is being exposed. SoCal South keep Hobbs on the cheap.
See, I'm almost ready to still get more veteran corners. I think you got to have a good mix. We have enough young corners.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like I think we need to get a couple guys who's played some big time games. But the thing is, when you look at some of those usually corners that are in free agency, a lot of them are kind of either up in age or they got some kind of injury concern. So it's a risk. But I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not for every year just keep on drafting a whole bunch of young corners, man. And a Turf, and I know I like Hobbs too, man. Don't act like I'm targeting Hobbs. I like Hobbs. Everyone knows I like Hobbs, but I just don't know if I could give him a bag, man, because he the way he plays very physical, and the way he plays, this might be a concern every year, but I keep thinking like if we have to be flexible at the cornerback position, we can't really be flexible with him because he just cannot play on the outside. So I don't know. Salute to Hobbs. So
yeah, I'm with the Jack Ken in the building. Appreciate you coming through. Remember, guys,
man.
Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, turn those notifications, Protect the Show podcast down below. I'm 805 Raider, Real Talk Raider Nation. Our guy Severe Raider couldn't make it because his young boys in the Super Bowl, the youth Super Bowl, man. So shout out to him.
Hopefully they won.
Dixon Sutter says Hobbs 1 year deal, Kuntz 1 year deal. Yeah, maybe if they go for it.
See, I don't think they're going to sign. They're not going to sign that because honestly, this is their. Everyone knows, man. Like when you become a free agent, this is your real time to go get a bag. I can't see them taking a year. I can't.
I'm with you. Has Hobbs ever played a full season? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
So at this point, there was a lot of. I'll be honest. Initially, the one guy out of the trio, it was Kuntz, Trayvon Merrick, Nate Hobbs, and Robert Spillane. The one guy that I was a little iffy on bringing back was Robert Spillane just because of his age. But I'll tell you right now,
you got to keep him.
I think we got to keep him.
He'll be cheaper too, just because of the position.
Yeah, because I mean, let's say you sign him for like a 3-year, right? Now he's going to be in upwards of like 34 years old.
Yeah,
you better, I don't know if you front load it and then all of a sudden on the back end you have that you
get
have
a way out
to,
if you need to.
Yeah, like cut him or what have you that last year, or he's just on a very cheap deal. But if we get rid of Divine Diablo, you can't get rid of 2 linebackers.
No.
And they'll have to figure that out, and so. But the one thing I will add, and I think someone put in the chat, and I 100% agree, as coaches, you also need to find the diamond in the roughs that you coach your players up. So we always
we had a Amari Burney sighting today. He made a play. He made a big play.
100%. And one guy I want to point out is DC Richardson. Man, we didn't hear his name a whole lot today, which I think was a good thing.
He got dogged on one play. He was trailing. I forgot what play it was, but I took notes. I don't have them with me, but I don't know, man. I'm not. Again, cornerback is the second hardest position in the NFL. So like, I don't want to jump to conclusions. Just like I kept preaching about my boy JB. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, man. DCam, I don't know, man. I'm not feeling him all like that.
Okay, so I didn't hear his name a lot, so that was my biggest thing. Is I did see him a couple times. I think it was an overthrow a little bit by Baker Mayfield, but he was kind of on his hip. So I again didn't hear his name a whole lot, so I thought it's better than we did last week. That's for sure. Jason Marshall, you're saying letting Meek Roberts go was a mistake. We'd be saying the same thing with Hobbs. So here's my thing, and I said this in the off season. The only reason why I didn't like the fact that we got rid of Amik Robertson was because there's a true emotion to going against your division rivals. I think nowadays, because players flop back and forth so much, they switch to other teams. Like, you get these new rookies in, you get these new players that don't truly feel the emotion of playing the Chiefs, right? Like the hatred that you can have for playing the Chiefs. And one of the things that Amik Robertson brought to the table was just his absolute emotion and passion.
Yeah.
And the win that we had over the Chiefs, the win that we had over the Broncos that last game, the win that we had over the Chargers, putting up 63 points on them, I wanted to keep some of those players that had the emotional investment on this is a division rival. We're going to want to come and kick the piss out of you. And Amik Robertson wasn't bad, and we needed another corner. And so that's the only reason why I didn't like seeing Amik Robertson walk away, because I think we needed some of those players in that locker room that understood just how emotional that Christmas game was against the Chiefs. and kind of ride that emotional wave to just show these young players and these new players in the locker room, like, hey, like this is what we need to beat this team. Because half the battle is just the mindset going into a game. And so I think he would have been a hell of a second corner, but I also think that just riding what we had last year to kind of transition that to some of the newer players in the locker room, I definitely wanted that because you don't get it anymore. Look at Josh Jacobs. He walked, he went away, and now you no longer have that. So that was part of the reason. So that was my first thought when I saw him walk.
No, I feel that. I think with Amik, again, I love his passion too, because that means a lot. You know, someone that really cares. But, you know, even when I watch him on the Lions, you know, he's still getting beat. You know, I mean, he's still running around, you know, with a high motor. He wants to do well. But I didn't lose no sleep from losing him, man. I mean, he's one of those guys that, you know, you rally behind because he has a good story, small guy, you know, heart of a giant, but I'm okay with, you know, I'm not losing no sleep losing him.
Yeah, I'm with you. That was my initial emotion and reaction to it when we let him go. And some people, they say, I mean, Meek, yeah, because of his height, it was a little suspect, but he did come in big plays. I mean, I remember I forget who, I think it was against Green Bay last year. Or is it Green Bay? I think we had the pick at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And so let's do this. So again, defense, I think the concern that I have is that we just let teams drive down opening drive and score. And it kills the momentum. We've done it all season long, and we did it again today. They jumped out 14 points quick. Offense is not good enough to come from behind, and it just slowed everything down. So,
what about our boy? What about our boy Adam Butler? Did he end up? I know he was hurt. Did he end up coming back?
Yeah, I think he came back.
He did. Okay.
Honestly, man, the way he was sitting,
at
first was like, okay, is he hurt? But then, as he was kind of moving around, I'm like, okay, did he just kind of get like the wind knocked out of him a little bit? And then sometimes I kind of towards the tail end of him kind of sitting there, I'm like, damn, did he just get a shot like right in the midsection? You know what I'm saying? Like, just go down a little bit. And like, just because it didn't look like the trainers and the medical staff was like panicking or concerned, I think they were just like, okay, yeah, just take your time. So I don't think it was too bad. And so, but again, defense, I think they wore down at the tail end where we were still within 4 points, I think, with 10 minutes left. And then all of a sudden, the big catch by Otten, we had the big play by Mike Evans, and then the big run by that Tucker running back. I mean, they just got worn down. So, but that kind of breaks down the stats a little bit. We did talk about a lot. Obviously, Kayvon Chasen. We talked about Sincere McCormick. We're going to talk about quarterbacks, all right, guys? Because I think a lot of you guys are in the chat. You guys are sitting there talking about first round, second round, trade back. You know, who do we want to get? And well, let's go ahead. We'll dive into it. Before we go into it, we'll just kind of take a look at this real quick. Tankathon currently has this at the number 1 spot. Okay? Had it ready for you guys. We officially took over that number 1 spot. And so, unfortunately, well, Draft for Show, you got a question. Who'd you rather have, Amik or Darnay Holmes?
If you put it that way, I mean, Darnay made a couple plays, but I'll probably take Amik just based off the passion, but I guarantee Amik's going to want more money. So,
yeah. Man, that's a hard one. I'll be honest. Because Darnay Holmes, I mean, he's been doing well. He's been doing good. I just don't know what Amik Roberts maybe would have brought to us this year. You know, being another year in Patrick Graham's system. But with all the injuries, I think it would have been a lot of moving around for Amik Robertson. So I don't know, man. Darnay Holmes just hasn't shown enough for me to pull the trigger on who I would take. But Darnay Holmes has been doing well.
I'm not mad at that.
Jeff, you said, or no, it was was it Jeff? Let's see. You had Jack Cannon. What was Bauer's numbers? I'll go back to it real quick just to show you. Bauer's numbers.
Like 3 catches and 40 something. Was it?
Yeah, 3 catches for 49 yards.
Yeah.
I'd give him the ball more, without question. But we got the number one. We got the number one draft pick. And everybody in the chat, you guys want to talk about quarterback draft, all that fun stuff. So you know what? Why the hell not? Let's jump into it. So chat, let me know if we have the number one pick. I'm going to sit up in my seat and make sure I get a little more of this in me. Don't mean to bounce around. But someone also talked about Antonio Pierce just not being it. Someone said we're 2-11. You need the right coaching staff in order to develop a quarterback. Do you think Antonio Pierce is the right guy as we stand today? Because again, this game was messy. This game was very undisciplined, and I put that all on Antonio Pierce's shoulders. If you have an undisciplined team, it's on Antonio Pierce's shoulders. He got all the credit in the world at the end of last season because we were such a disciplined team.
Yeah.
Well,
last in turnover or last in penalties, we're playing good. So,
and look, I understand we've gone through a lot of injuries. That's why I gave Luke Getsy a lot of leeway because he was going through a shit ton of injuries. The offensive line was not even put together, and so that's why I gave Luke Getsy some leeway, and I'm going to give AP some leeway because of it. But when you have so many miscues, when you have so many plays, fumbled snaps, penalties, that challenge when we're down 14-0.
Like,
why the hell are you challenging?
Why? Yes, man. Yes.
And then there was that pass interference that Jack Jones was called for, but the ball was tipped. Adam Butler got a piece of that ball. You could tell that the ball changed trajectory after Adam Butler tipped it. That could have been.
Is that challengeable? Is that challengeable?
Yeah.
If it's tipped, okay. Yeah.
And so those are the things. You don't just throw a challenge flag just to throw a challenge flag. And that's what he did. That was clearly an incomplete pass. He did not get 2 feet down.
Mm-mm.
So why the hell do you throw that challenge flag that early in the game? And so, to me, I think there's just things that are concerning to me. And I have one more point to say about AP, but Chris, do you have anything to say on that? I'll throw it your way.
Yeah, man. I love AP. I've stood very strong for him. I want him to do well. But yeah, it's little things like today, man. You look at the game management, when to challenge things, when to go for it, when to punt. It's tough, man. It's I can only cover for him for so much, man. But then sometimes he'll do stuff and it's like, I can't. I can't have his back on certain things, man. Again, but one thing I will always continue to say, his team is not giving up on him. These guys are still fighting. People are getting hurt. Next man up. They're still competing. That's huge. I want to see him with a competent quarterback. We got hit very bad with injuries before week 1. In the walkthroughs, Malcolm Kuntz gets hurt. So it's like he didn't get a chance to put everything on the field that was supposed to be there. So, but it's tough, man. It's tough. If we do move on from him, I'm not going to shed a tear. But man, I definitely wanted him to work out, but sometimes he makes decisions that makes it tough, man.
He does. And MEZ Box, I see in the build. I appreciate you. His turn, but it was Trey Tucker could have done a better footwork. He could have, but at the end of the day, you don't challenge that. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
Trey Tucker could have maybe had better footwork, but you don't challenge it. Like you don't waste a challenge that way. So, and that's kind of the point I was kind of getting at. But here's my last point because shout out to Hondo Carpenter. He's the beat writer for Sports Illustrated. He's in the building, man. I watch him because he reports some of the news that he hears in the building. But man, I don't know if you watch Hondo Carpenter, Chris, at all. But if you go in the comment section,
I used to watch him all the time, but
yeah. I watch him just to kind of get any updated news.
Yeah,
is probably being said. But man, there is a shit ton of hate for Hondo Carpenter, and I feel bad for him. I'll be honest, man. But
I got no
What do you
respect for him. He's been on my
Yeah.
show before. I had a chance to talk ball with him, so I got nothing but respect. But yeah, I don't watch him as much as I used to though. But shout out to Hondo.
But Hondo continues to kind of still make that comparison of Dan Campbell and AP. And I still think a lot of fans make that comparison of the fans that want to hold on to Antonio Pierce. And Larry Fleming, you're saying AP should finish out his contract, and a decision should be made. Possibly, I think it's a 2-year contract. I think it has to be a 2-year contract. I know the details haven't truly come out, but I think it is. But here's my thing, and this is my take. I haven't said this before, and I'm probably going to drop a video on my channel regarding it. Is I think the talk or comparison between Antonio Pierce and Dan Campbell, it has to stop.
Yeah.
There's no comparison. It's almost disrespectful to Dan Campbell to make that comparison, because Dan Campbell, he came in, he's got, I think, a total of 13 years of coaching in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He started out as an assistant, then he was an intern, and then he spent, I believe, 4 years as an assistant head coach to Sean Payton with the Saints.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And then so he had years of experience. He had a decent body of work prior to becoming a head coach, and he went through the natural process of becoming a head coach. The Lions sought out to interview him. The Lions requested to bring him in as an interview. And so he earned that job. The Lions wanted him. But Antonio Pierce, let's all be honest, Antonio Pierce got the job because of emotion and because the locker room wanted him. That's how Antonio Pierce got the job initially. And when he got the interim title, it was basically by default. You weren't going to give it to Patrick Graham because you needed that defense to kind of hold itself together. That was the only solid side of the football.
Yeah.
You didn't want to dismantle that. And so Antonio Pierce was just kind of the default pick a little bit. Now, I'll give him credit. Like, he wasn't a good leader. So you give him that. But he was hired on, I think, because of emotion and because of the fan base. The fan base wanted him. And he didn't earn really anything at that point. So we got to stop the comparison to Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell did it the right way and did it completely different. And so I don't think what Dan has done has any relevance as to whether or not we think Antonio Pierce is going to be a head coach. I'm just going to throw that out. So
no, that's a good take. No, that's a great take. I think when most people have the comparison is just like maybe who they are as a leader, because they're motivating type coaches. They're not I don't ever want to say they're not X's and O's types of guys, because you cannot not be an X and O guy when you were, a linebacker. You were the quarterback of a defense that beat one of the best offenses that's ever played. You were a captain on, a phenomenal defense. Like, he knows the X's and O's of the defense. So I'm not going to say he doesn't, but, he's more of a motivator. So he's more of like the Mike Tomlin guy. And by the way, I don't know if you guys have watched that Hard Knocks with the AFC North. I love it. Love watching Mike Tomlin. But
I haven't seen that yet, but I have to, because I'm a Mike Tomlin fan.
Man, I like it, and you would like it, because episode 1 just came out last week. But when I was watching Mike Tomlin, I'm like, man, I don't know how AP is behind the scenes, but I hope he's like that. That was my mindset. But to your point, it is different between him and Dan Campbell. Someone put in the chat though, but like, Dan Campbell really had a chance to I think get the best of the best, or the offensive coordinator and defense coordinator that he wanted. Whereas I feel like AP did to an extent. I mean, he already had a good defensive coordinator, but he really wanted Cliff, and things.
Yeah, you got to give him credit for it.
Exactly. And things. I mean, imagine what this year could have looked like with Cliff running the show. People hate Minshew, but Minshew has a lot of experience in that offense. That's really where he shined. Like, in college, that's where he shined. Minshew could have been a different guy. We could have had a different offense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I get what you're saying. I I don't know. I'm trying to have his back as much as I can.
And so, Jeff, man, you're saying, so who do you want? And that remains to be seen because look, I want to give Antonio Pierce the rest of the season, but I also want to know.
I think Jeff's talking to John. Him and John's going back and forth.
Jim and John. Okay.
Yeah.
John with the all caps. I got you.
Yeah.
I see you, John.
Yeah. Jeff, don't fall into the trap, man.
Yeah. Right. And so, but here's the thing, like, I think there's going to be quite a few coaches that get fired this offseason. And so can they be available to be an offensive coordinator, stuff like that. So we'll definitely talk head coaching and who could potentially be it if AP doesn't work out as we go on. And so more Parmaniac, appreciate you in the building as well. You're saying AP needs to go, failed experiment. You know, it hasn't looked good so far. So there's not a whole lot that could defend AP in what he's done at this point. Dixon side, you're saying variable all day. You know, look, wouldn't be mad at it, but at the same time, I'm letting the rest of the season kind of play out and see how we roll. So with that said, again, now we're going to go back to drafting quarterback. So sorry for that. Well, insert it when it comes to coaches, but someone talked about head coaching and developing a quarterback. But I appreciate, again, everybody in the building. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. Got Chris Protect the Show podcast with me. I'm 805 Raider Real Talk, Raider Nation. I appreciate all you guys in the building. Just make sure you hit that like button. It definitely helps us out. So I can't go back into the chat and scroll through. So guys, if we have the number one draft pick, because I just showed you the tankathon, we currently have the number one pick. If you're the number one pick, what would you do? Everybody's on the board. Everybody's available. Would you pick a quarterback? If you did, or if you will pick a quarterback, who's your quarterback? Or would you trade back? Let me know in the comment section. I'll definitely pull it up. Hit that hashtag Raiders first. It lets me see it. But Chris, you know, I got my opinion. What would you do, Chris? You Tom Telesco today.
I'm listening to offers. I ain't gonna lie. I'm listening to offers. If it's something like we get like 4 first-round picks and we can still, you know, get a top 10 pick, I'm listening to that. I'm listening to that. But if I'm at the point where I'm not getting enough to trade back, then me personally, I'm getting Cam Ward. I like what I see from Cam Ward. I feel like he can his upside is higher. You know, a lot of people act like, you know, Shador is so much more accurate and throws the ball better than Cam Ward. I would disagree. I think Cam Ward has better arm talent. I think that Shador can probably process a little better, and he might make better decisions than Cam Ward, because Cam Ward has that, you know, 1 to 2 plays per game where it's just like, what are you doing? Why did you, like that Brett Favre mentality where Brett Favre had that 1 play a game. You're just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't cry if we got Shador, but you know, if I was in that seat and I didn't like the offer, then I'm taking Cam.
And you know who had that one play that I couldn't understand it was Carr. That's what I could not stand with Carr.
Yeah.
Like there'd be that play where he would float that thing 30 yards up in the air to nobody. And I'm sitting there going, what the hell was that?
Yeah, it's like 1 or 2 per. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like that's not Cam. Like Cam's not that bad. But I mean, I just remember like Carr was always due for one just bonehead play that I was like, what the hell was that? You know, and it's like that, like the fumbling out the back of the end zone when he tried to stretch. You know, like it was just there was always gonna be that play. But you got a lot of people. You got Shador. Dixon said Travis Hunter, but I wouldn't be mad at getting Shador. Phil, appreciate you coming to the building. You got Sanders. Larry Fleming, you talking about head coach. Patrick Graham for head coach.
I don't see that.
Yeah, I think that'll be. I'll be honest. That'd be a tough one. Robert O in the building. You're saying Shador. Michael Rascon. You're saying Prime Junior all day. I'm guessing that's Travis Hunter. You're saying Travis Hunter. Here's my take. I think a lot of people are reaching for, because I wait for halfway through the college season, then I start paying attention to quarterbacks. I haven't looked at all of them. I still got to look at Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. I still want to see a bunch of his games. I want to watch more of Gabriel Dixon or Dillon. A lot of people are
Balled
talking
out
about
yesterday.
Gabriel Dillon.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wait a little bit to kind of truly look at the quarterbacks. But I have watched plenty of Shedeur Sanders up to this point. I've watched plenty of Cam Ward. And I got kind of another guy that I really like. And I'm going to say that to the end. Here's my problem with Shedeur Sanders and why I don't think he's a number 1 draft pick. I think if he came out in some, because everybody thinks he's the answer.
Yeah.
But I think this is a underwhelming quarterback class. That's why he's up there. If you look at if Shedeur Sanders was in last year's quarterback class, there's an argument whether or not he's the 5th or 6th best quarterback.
Yeah. So yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I just don't think that he has the complete package to be a number 1 draft pick. Could you get him in the first round? Yes. I think he's a first round quarterback. In my opinion, I don't think it's top 10 if you look at some of the better quarterbacks that have come out of the draft over the recent years. And so I just think that there's a pretty decent fall off between the top 2 and the rest. If you look at the rest, if Cam Dart's the next best, or Drew Aller or Dylan Gabriel, those type of guys, I think there's a decent gap between them and Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward in most people's minds. I think Shedeur Sanders, he's not as athletic as he wants to be. I think he tries to extend plays and gets caught by Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
You're going to face defenses that are 3 times faster. And if you think you're athletic enough to move around the pocket and scramble around and get caught in your division, you're going to get hawked down real quick. You're going to get an eye opening or a rude awakening. I think he's got so much talent around him that it almost makes him look better. A lot of people sit there and go, look, he threw for 350 yards. Well, yeah, well, guess what? 80% of his passes are screen passes, and those receivers take it for yard. And so you could take away half his damn passing yards just because his receivers did all the work. I don't think that he's the type of guy that's going to be able to methodically move an offense down a field on a consistent basis. God, there's actually a lot about Shedeur Sanders that I don't like. Now, everybody talks about him being a prima donna, or they don't like his attitude or whatever. I have no problem with his attitude.
There. Yeah.
I think his dad is Deion Sanders. Growing up, I guarantee you his dad has humbled his ass plenty of times. Humble.
Yep.
And so I have no problem with Shedeur Sanders' attitude, his mindset, stuff like that. I think he's being hyped up because the NFL wants him to be hyped up. I think this whole movement to the Raiders, I think, is going to be just nothing but publicity and money for the NFL. And so they're hyping it up. There's a good chance, we don't even get him, to be honest. I think they're trying to hype his ass up because that's ratings for the NFL. Yeah. You got to understand at the end of the day, this is a business for the NFL. So they're going to hype that shit up, and it's going to be nothing but like Deion Sanders is going to hype it up. He's going to hype it up so that his son gets all the publicity in the world. And so, I just don't look at all that of him, doing the whole thank God thing and all that stuff. It's like, whatever. Like Deion Sanders is a showman, and that's kind of what he's doing. So I'm not going to kind of fall into that. But you also got Shedeur Sanders that has probably the number 1 offensive threat in the country in his back pocket. And so he's utilizing him. You look at the flip side. Cam Ward doesn't have all the talent in the world surrounding him. He's got that one slot receiver. I think his number is maybe number 7. I forgot. I'm blanking on his name. His last name starts with an R.
Yeah, Russ. Yeah. No, he's a beast. He's a beast. So he's a beast.
he's a beast, but he's not the freakish athlete or he's not the
Yeah.
quickest guy. But what Cam Ward's doing is he's methodically being able to get him the ball to make him better.
Yeah.
Right? And so he's able to find him in ways that you got to get creative. You got to be able to make those tight throws because he doesn't have just that athletic freakishness about him to be able to get him the ball. And so I think where Shedeur Sanders is playing with more talent around him, and everybody says, oh, he turned Colorado around. No, he recruited the shit out of players to get Colorado where he's at. I just don't think Shedeur Sanders has what it takes to be a top 10 quarterback in this league. I just don't think he does. And I don't even think it's top 15, to be dead honest. And no fault to the hype and everything. I think he's being overhyped because of his dad and who he is. So, sorry, that was long-winded. But if we don't take Cam, I wouldn't be mad if we took Cam. I think he's got a great upside. I think he'd have to sit for a little bit, so we need a bridge quarterback. I would trade back if we were number one and stockpile as many goddamn picks as we could.
So what would your price be?
I'd like to stay in the top. I'd like to stay within the top 5, maybe top 6. So we still get probably a number one player at that position. And if we could get 3 first-rounders, because if you're sitting at number one, you still have the Jacksonville Jaguars that were possibly sitting behind us, maybe the New York Giants. If it's the New York Giants sitting behind us, they're going to want a quarterback. So they're going to probably it's going to be a bidding war for somebody else wanting to jump up to that number one. If the Jacksonville Jaguars are in close proximity and they want Travis Hunter real bad, they might pump up the price a little bit. But if we could get a couple number ones and a couple number twos and stay in the top 6, I'm pulling the trigger without question.
Yeah. And it depends on, because again, some of those other quarterbacks, I want to see what they do in the playoffs. Like, Gabriel, a couple of other guys. It's just, I don't know. I'm sold on Cam because I really feel like Cam can be a guy, a franchise guy that can really change, the trajectory of our team and our offense. But the thought of getting 3 first-round picks, especially with Telesco proving that he can turn those draft picks into something great. Because honestly, giving up a whole bunch just to get one person, because I even think back at should we, and let me ask you, should we have, knowing what you know now, should we have traded up to get Jaden Daniels this year? What's your thoughts? Me personally, I'll answer it first. Me personally, I'm glad we didn't, because I think that giving up what it was going to take to get Jaden Daniels, that means, for one, we don't have Brock Bowers, we don't have JPJ, and then we also will not have a first-round pick for probably the next 2 or 3 years, possibly, depending on how much it was going to cost. I mean, going from 13 to where we were, we're probably going to give up 4 first-round picks. I don't think the difference of, say, a Jaden Daniels to a Cam Ward is worth JPJ, Bowers, and like 3 more picks. That's just me. Now, yeah, Jaden's nice. Jaden's awesome, but I don't see that the gap is not that different for me.
So let's do this though. And I know that there's a lot of like what ifs in this scenario.
Yeah.
But what if Cliff Kingsbury came in and said, I want a quarterback, and maybe they told him, hey, like, we're out of range. Commanders are gonna give it up. But there's like, that's not our plan. And he walked. Now again, there's rumors that he walked because he didn't get that 3rd year.
Yeah.
And so I guess my thing is that what if the plan was to get Jaden Daniels, we give up everything in the farm, but we also get Cliff Kingsbury to match him up with
Jaden? Talking about,
yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, it would have been nice, but still, even with a Jaden on our team this year, without a JPJ, without a Brock Bowers, our team looks a lot different. And the next few years, we don't have no first round picks to even get more talent.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. Like, I think we're in a good spot. As long as we can hit on the quarterback this year, I think we'll be in a better, because Brock Bowers is generational.
Yeah. So I'm with you, because the thing is that in order for a quarterback to succeed, and I'll throw you out the scenarios, you need to surround them with talent. Unless you're Patrick Mahomes, to be dead honest, and even with Patrick Mahomes,
he still had Kelsey and Hill when he first started.
But I gave this scenario a few weeks back, right, when everybody was like, fire Luke Getsy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, I feel you. I understand the emotional frustration. But the thing is, like, look at some of the veteran quarterbacks. Look at C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud's numbers started to fall off when Nico Collins went down, Tank Dell went down, Stephon Diggs went down. Like, you remove the talent around these quarterbacks, and then they fall off drastically. Look at Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford, when Cooper Kupp and the other receiver over there.
Yeah, Puka.
Puka. You know, when both those guys went down, that Rams offense didn't score a first quarter or first half touchdown in like 4 games. Matthew Stafford looked like a horrible quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, his numbers were no better than Gardner Minshew earlier in the season when all of his talent went down. I mean, his touchdown to interception ratio was absolutely garbage. And so you have to surround these players with talent. And so, to your point, if we would have traded up, give away the farm, we didn't have Brock Bowers, we didn't have any offensive line help.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we're bringing in Jaden Daniels, we probably would have ruined his career.
That's what I'm saying. That's one. And then who knows if Big Mike would have, imagine if Big Mike still had a meltdown, he wouldn't have been available. I mean, it's just I know it's a big what if thing, but I was just thinking that, like, those draft picks, if we can mess around and get some additional draft picks and still find a way to get a guy in this draft, Tom Telesco really hit this draft out the park. I mean, it's probably one of the best drafts, since that Khalil Mack draft, honestly.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And at least without question, those first 3 picks.
First 3. Yeah. I mean, that's all you can ask for.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, give me 3 starters in any draft. I'm cool.
And so here's my thing. And I think a lot of people have asked me if I don't go with if I don't pick a quarterback to start out, right? If I don't take Cam Ward or what have you. I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Megalodon, I see you. Are you talking to me that I'm overhyped? That's fine.
Yeah.
You do you. And let's see. Cam has a hell of an offensive line, though. Is that so? I've watched the games. Is that offensive line, I mean, that good? I don't feel like that offensive line is great.
Yeah. I wouldn't call him, because it seems like he's always running for his life, honestly.
There might be. But at the same time, I do think, like, again, the other thing about Shedeur Sanders, he came over. You bring over all the talent that Dion was able to bring in. They're also in not the strongest conference at all. I mean, they're playing teams like Texas Tech. But then Miami, Cam Ward comes over, learns a brand new system with brand new talent. He had his Shedeur Sanders came over to Colorado with his safety blanket, Travis Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Ward goes over to Miami with nobody he's familiar with. And so he has to understand that timing with those receivers. He has to understand a brand new system, get the chemistry with the receivers. He's got to build from complete scratch, and he hit the ground running.
And it's not like he went to a good team. I think the year before they were like 7-6 or something like that. So it's not like
they weren't great.
Yeah, so it's not like he came into a squad that had some dogs. So for sure.
And Jay, for sure, I agree. Shedeur Sanders is a tough player. Again, I have no problems with his attitude, work ethic, all that stuff. Got no issues with that. I'm just looking at him purely as a quarterback. I mean, shit, that hit that he took. I forget what game was that against Kansas. I forget what
that game
took
a lot of people out. That would have took a lot of people.
Yeah. I don't underestimate his toughness, without question. And so, But at the same time, I'm just looking at his play and just the tangibles and everything that kind of surrounds him. And so, again, that's in my mindset is whether or not if we're sitting at number one. If we're sitting at number one, I ain't taking him. I'll take the draft picks all day, every day. Now, Joe Barber, good point. Yes, Patrick Shanahan has a good coach. And he's got one of the best offensive coordinator minds in the league, and he still has had horrible stats with injured players around him. Rashid Rice goes down, Isaiah Pacheco goes down, and his stats are horrible. He's got one of the best play callers. Matthew Stafford has one of the best play callers on the sideline.
That's a good point.
And he looked like crap when all the players go down. So you have to be surrounded by talent with some of these quarterbacks. I don't care who you are. And so let's talk about who I actually am interested in. So one player that I actually am a fan of, and I'll preface this by saying I still want to look more at Dylan Gabriel. I still want to look more at Jackson Dart. Some of these players I haven't seen a lot of them. I will go back and break them down and watch. I like Drew Aller. I was
wondering if you were going to say that. I was wondering. Did you watch him yesterday?
I did. Had some miscues, made some mistakes, which is tough. But I don't. When I break down, and I'll do this, right? I'll break down Shedeur Sanders. I'm not going to mention all the there was that. I think he played Utah State and he had that horrible interception at the beginning of the game. I don't bring up stuff like that because look, quarterbacks at the college, you're going to make mistakes. It happens. Yep. So I'm not judging you just on a bad throw. If you make it consistently, that's another story. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if you make a bad throw, bad decision, it happens. But Drew Aller had some tough throws yesterday, but he had some damn good throws. But you got to look at the body of work. I mean, he's got the arm talent to basically throw that ball wherever it needs to be. Now, I will be honest. I think some of the miscues on that offense isn't necessarily because of Drew Aller. That offensive coordinator over at Penn State, I think he tries to outcoach himself half the goddamn time.
Yeah.
With all the with all the weird formations that he tries to come up with, where Drew Aller's off at the receiver spot, then they motions back to the quarterback, and it's but that also could be a plus in my mind because now I bet you Drew Aller has a playbook that's this thick, whereas everybody else's is this thick because of all the stupid shifts of formations and just the nonsense. There's been a couple times when I'll watch a Penn State game where it's 3rd and 4 and he does the offensive coordinator does some weird shit where all of a sudden he's doing 2 different shifts and all of a sudden now it's Drew Aller as a receiver and he does a reverse to that stud tight end that they got over there. And it's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. Trying to be too cute.
Way too cute. And I'm just sitting there going like, you got one of the best arm talents in the country on 3rd and 4.
And a great running back. Great running back. Keep it simple sometimes.
Oh, that running back did work.
Yeah, he's nice. He's nice.
And you got to give credit where credit's due, right? That running back did do work against Oregon, and that's probably the reason why they had a chance in that game was because that running game was thriving, not necessarily because of Drew Aller, even though I think he played a decent game. That running game, without question, took over. And that brings up another point about Shedeur Sanders. I don't think Shedeur Sanders is the sole reason why that offense is thriving. I mean, you look at that Texas Tech game that he had, they only beat Texas Tech because of the run game. That was it, and the screen game. There has been multiple games this year where Colorado wins a football game, not because of Shedeur Sanders. It might look like he threw for 350 yards, but it's because he threw a screen pass that went for 80 yards.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so now, do I want to put a lot of that on Shedeur Sanders because that's the offensive play calling? That's what he's dealing with, And so, and that's why a lot of people sit there and go, "Oh, well, he's got this 74% completion rating." Well, when 80% of your passes are screen passes, that percentage is going to bump up. So I don't look at that at all. That number is trash to me. So again. That's why I feel like the transition for Shedeur Sanders over to the NFL, I just don't know if it's going to be that good enough to be a first-round draft pick. So, or a number 1 draft pick in the NFL. Steve Erling, I appreciate the super chat, man. I appreciate you coming through. you're saying Bryce and AR are slowly improving. If they can get better, why not Cam? At least if Cam sucks, he'll get the top pick rather than a 10 to 15 pick. That they are slowly improving. You look at Bryce Young. Bryce Young, he did well today. He probably had his best game against the Bucs last week.
Yeah.
Chris, you've heard me about my opinion on Anthony Richardson over there. I don't think he's going to be very good. But at the same time, if Steichen over there can get the best out of him, then more power to you. But I think if we pull the trigger at number one, or even if we're sitting at number two, if I get a quarterback, I do think it's Cam Ward.
Yeah, and I think that's a good comment because Bryce and AR, they are getting better. I remember this time last year, or actually earlier this season, that's what everybody was telling me. Oh, Aidan O'Connell, he was the second best rookie quarterback of that class. Blah blah blah. Right after who was CJ, and I'm like, guys, Bryce is going to get better. At the end of the day, Bryce is going to get better. You got to give guys a chance to develop, and even AOC might end up getting a little bit better, but I just don't see it. But just sticking to just these quarterbacks, I do like Aller. He played good yesterday, but again, it just depends on what some of these guys. In fact, I'm not even sure if they ended up still going to the playoffs. I'm not sure how that even worked out for them. That may have knocked them out, honestly. So I won't get a chance to see any more Drew. So I will be able to see the Oregon quarterback, to watch him some more. But I just don't know, man. It's tough because those draft picks mean a lot now that we have Telesco, but I just don't want to miss out on a guy that I think can help take us to the next level. And like I said, I think it's Cam Ward. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I'm with you. And then you got Jeff, for sure, you're saying isn't Drew Aller 20 years old? Yeah, he's young. I think he's a redshirt junior right now, and so he might stay another year. And so if he stays another year, then obviously he's out of the question. And I'm never the one that's going to want to play for a quarterback next year, to be dead honest, because you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
Everybody talks about the Archie Manning that's coming out. You can you can have an injury, and all of a sudden that plan's out the window. So I never take into consideration if we could get a quarterback next year.
Right.
I just take for what the quarterbacks are today versus the talent that we have in the building. I mean, the one kid I want to watch a little more film on is that McMillan kid, the receiver from Arizona.
Oh yeah, you like him. Yeah.
I want to watch more on that kid just to kind of see, because I think he's going to possibly be a top 10 kid. You match him up with Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. I mean, that is a receiver core that any quarterback that can drop in and play around with. And so, Steve, you're saying Miami's own line is tied for 7th overall with pressures allowed. They're not that great.
I didn't think they were a strong line, just because I watched a lot of Miami play, and it seems like he had to evade a lot. Yeah,
and Dixon Side, you're saying my favorite Sunday football snacks are wings and onion rings. Hey, you can't beat no good. And someone was saying bone in only, Myra G, bone in only. Snacks and onion rings, man. Yeah, you can't hate on any some good wings. Alex M and Bill, I appreciate you. We'd love to get a running back like Hampton in the draft. I think we will target a running back.
Yeah, got to
in the draft for sure. So, and then Dre, for sure, you said Drew Aller does fit the prototype quarterback for Telesco. He does. I agree with you. And so, sorry, boneless rings aren't even wings. You're right. Frank Perez. It just shows you don't know nothing about drafting their quarterback. You're an idiot. The Texas quarterback sucks. I don't know who you're talking to. Let me know. Talking to me, we'll have fun with it. A lot of people gave me shit about Bo Nix too. And I came on there and talked about Bo Nix. I thought he was going to be good with Sean Payton. But if you want to question me and just kind of my football knowledge, go for it. Question it. And you're saying I'm a hater on Sanders. So I'm guessing you're talking about me. I'm a hater on Sanders.
Hey, we don't have no football knowledge, man.
Yeah.
Even though we played a little bit on Saturdays, but whatever.
So let's do this. All right, let's go. Jody Montez, you're saying Archie Manning. Yeah, hey, I think he's going to be the hot commodity coming out. But again, it's hard because I'm not gonna bank on something that's in the future. You know what I'm saying? You just never know what'll happen for him next season. But going back to Drew Aller, I do think that if he was smart, I do think Drew Aller might stay one more year.
Yeah, I would if I was him. I would.
You know, as much as I like him, as much as I'd want him to come potentially draft, but also to the Raiders, but also sit him for a year. That would be my thing, and I would like to do that with any rookie quarterback. I could care less how good they are. Sit them for at least a season. And I've said that for a long time. So
or let them win the job. You know, I mean, I think that's where I'm at. I don't want to just sit him just to sit him. Like if he can literally outplay the veteran that's ahead of him, you know, I mean, kind of like Carr. You know, Carr had the opportunity. You know, Carr was our second round pick. Who we had, Matt Flynn at the time, or the other, Matt Straub, or one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like he just outplayed him. I'm down with that. You know, just my thing is nothing should be, you know, like, don't hand over the keys to anybody. Let everything be earned. Yeah,
I'm with you. And so, but and that's the other thing, right? Is not only do we need a quarterback, right? If we draft a quarterback, we need an offensive coordinator, and that's going to be very interesting. You know, if
Right.
AP still is the head coach, you know, I think that there's quite a few coaches that are on the chopping block. And so one question is, you know, out of the head coaches that are on the chopping block, you got Mike, you got Dable that's over there with the Giants. You got Peterson over there with the Jags, that who knows, he might be on the chopping block as well. I would be curious if, you know, AP kind of had, and AP's got to have the rapport, right? AP's got to be able to have the name and the respect amongst the league. That's actually one thing that when I was watching Hondo Carpenter, just, you know, kind of get some of the updates, and I emailed Hondo Carpenter asking the question, but he never responded. Is he said that AP has respect amongst the league, and I'm sitting there going, okay, from who exactly? We're 2-11. We're a very undisciplined team. I'm really curious as to who amongst the coaches in this league just overwhelmingly respect Antonio Pierce to come over here and be like, I'm going to be an offensive coordinator under you.
Yeah.
Like, would Brian Dable want to come over and coach under Antonio Pierce if he's got the pick of other suitable avenues? I'm looking across the league, and I don't know who is maybe better, who would be a more or a less respected head coach
than AP right now. I mean, that makes sense because he doesn't have the. I mean, he doesn't have the experience. Yeah, no, you're right. You know, for me though, I'm looking at someone like a Byron Leftwich, who should have been taken very seriously the first time around for even head coach positions, but he never got one. And I know, you know, we think about how the Raiders view certain things. But at this point, you know, the Raiders going to have to kind of be done with the old school way of thinking. I know people make mistakes, but Bieniemy, you know, he's going to be available. You know, I know he just was kind of I think he just left college, but, you know, regardless of what happened there, he has a resume that shows that, you know, he can coach the offensive side of the ball, regardless of what people think of him, his personality, or whether he can interview well or not. And regardless of his charges he's had, the guy can coach offensive football. Under him, that's when Mahomes is playing his very best. I would love to see either someone like Leftwich or Bieniemy. To be honest, he needs somebody like that to some that will immediately have some kind of name recognition, that has a resume of showing that they can move and put points on the board. But like you said, I don't think someone like a Dable, or like, they're not going to be just sprinting for this position and, you know, bending over backwards to come here.
No, but the only problem with Bieniemy is, again, it's like the it's trying to figure out who was really running the offense, right? Is Bieniemy is actually that offensive mind? Was it Andy Reid? Obviously, we all know it's Andy Reid. It's like honestly, you're looking at some of these coaches that sat behind some of these the Mike McDaniels, the Sean McVays, all these guys moving on. It's like who's really the mastermind behind it, and that's my only concern with Bieniemy. Plus, with Bieniemy's history, I don't know if he'd ever be hired on with the Raiders.
Yeah, but I think at some point, man, we gotta move past that. Honestly, but it is what it is.
So I think Frank President's talking to me. Who throws the ball in? Hey, I got to keep it clean for YouTube, but you can shut the fuck up. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. You can shut your ass up. You keep talking to me. Stupid motherfucker. Okay. That's it, though. That's all I got. That's all I got for him. No bitch. Okay. There you go. I know something said that. Oh no, something said that behind me. My bad. My bad. But yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, for me, I think that that's my biggest thing is we got the draft coming up, and we're going to be sitting at a top pick, and so that's going to be the talk moving forward. My biggest thing with Antonio Pierce is I just want to see how well does this team continue to play for him, and at the same time, can he prove that he can be can get this team back to just being playing disciplined football, because that's all he can prove right now.
Yeah,
it's game situation and disciplined football. That's it. That's all he's got. Because outside of that, there's nothing else that he can prove. The record's trash, but I'm still, in my opinion, I'm still giving him a little bit of leeway, because the same leeway I gave Lugetzi in the beginning. It's just nothing but injuries.
Right.
It's nothing but injuries. It's shitty situations, and you just can't win off of it. And so I'm not fully just throwing the record there and saying that he's trashed just solely because of the record. But man, if he continues to have an undisciplined football team, that is solely on him. And if he continues to do stupid things like challenging that catch, I mean, it just didn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my concern comes into play. And are you going to be that leader moving forward? And so it still remains to be seen. It's still under evaluation. And at the same time, I think Tom Brady's in that building now that has Mark Davis's ear. Does Mark Davis fully buy into AP? Because I think that's why the Mike Vrabel talks have started to happen. And so real quick, man, Chris, what's your thoughts on, do you think Tom Brady is going to have a huge
hold on. I did want to respond to something that Scott Hay. Shout out to you, Scott Hay, at the bottom. Comment he had.
So I got to catch up, man. That's my fault. This one.
Yeah. So and I agree. Like I think that's how a lot of us are thinking. That he would never allow Bieniemy in the building out of respect of Fred and kind of what their family went through. However, Tom Cable had the domestic violence accusations, and I think he actually had charges as well, and they let Tom Cable back in the building. So from my understanding, there was a conversation that was had, and I think that granted, we don't support any kind of domestic violence or anything like that, but I think there should at least be a conversation. And actually, I think he did he actually did he actually interview with this? He interviewed this time around, didn't he? For the OC with Getsy and all them? Bieniemy. Now thinking about it, did he come in for an official interview? I think he did. I know Hugh Jackson did, and I thought Bieniemy did too.
I don't think he did. I could be wrong. I don't think he did.
Okay, chat. You guys may remember. I know his name was in there, but anyway, the reason I say all that is that they did allow Tom Cable back in the building. So I don't want to just fully negate an opportunity for Bieniemy because of that. I don't know how long ago that was, but I think, we're at the point where conversation should be had, and, we should be able to move forward, just kind of depending on depending on the conversation, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Jose says, excuse my French, but we need a quarterback. Yeah, we do. I think nobody argues that. Any Raiders, you're saying Dable would if Vrabel was the head coach.
I can see that.
Yeah, because I think Vrabel's going to pull some respect in the league without question. What he did with the Titans was good over there. Obviously the situation just fell apart, but Vrabel did some good things over there with the Titans as well. We got man, I'm not going to butcher it. I apologize.
Leaky.
I know you. I know it's Hawaiian, so that I'm not going to butcher it. That's my bad. But offseason Raiders need to fully clean house, man. That remains to be seen. Anytime if we end 2-15, no job is safe at that point. So 100% agree.
You can't justify it.
Yeah. Easy Box, that Hondo guy says a lot of weird shit about their he does. Don't get me wrong. But and that's the hard part about beat writers, right? And when you're in the building, it's like
Hondo, man.
I feel bad for the guy because man, people go in talking some crazy shit about it. And Hondo's he's just a nice guy. I get it. You want him to press a little bit more. But people talk some crazy shit. But these beat writers, they have to play nice, which sucks. You don't want them to, but they have to.
And plus, we got to remember that a lot of those guys they're kind of pawns in the big scheme of things. The team will leak out certain stuff to them so they can get a certain message out. So therefore, we may hear some stuff that comes from one of these writers, and it may just be a smokescreen, just to kind of muddy up the waters, throughout the league. So, I know a lot of people, I don't know. It's a game. It's a game of chess, man. So though these guys are insiders, we just got to realize that sometimes they're being fed false information for a reason. It's a strategic thing, to be honest.
And it's also understand that these guys they're beat writers. It's not that they understand the game of football or the nuances to it and the X's and O's. And so they're just kind of reporting what they have. And it's hard when you're on here talking, it's hard not to give your opinion at the same time.
Right.
And so that's why I listen to him just to hear the news. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's about it. And so, Easy Box says no to be enemy. Yeah, I mean, it'd be a question mark. Steve Aurelian, he says Frank Smith as OC. I think he can be convinced to take a job that lets him call plays. Maybe. Yeah. Dixon says Frank is pissed.
But honestly, man, what's your thought on Leftwich? I really thought he got a raw deal, man.
I think you did. Again, it's so hard because you just got the Tom Brady part of it, right? I mean, he's there with Tom Brady. They go and win a Super Bowl, and it's like, and to be honest, I don't know if they won that Super Bowl because of the offense. It was more because of the defense.
Yeah, and run game.
Yeah,
too.
like that defense took it to. That was how everybody understood, or at least tried to mold teams to try to figure out how to beat Patrick Mahomes. Which you now knew you just needed a defense, not necessarily an offense, Yeah. And I think this was before Leftwich got fired. They made the playoffs with Tom Brady and won the division with a losing record.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's why with Leftwich, I don't know. That'd be a tough go for me. Not saying it'd be, I almost look at him like who was that young kid that I think he was the quarterback over at Boise back in the day. He was the OC for the Cowboys for a while.
Gosh, I actually wanted him for a while there.
The young kid. Where's he at now? Is he with the Eagles?
Yeah, somewhere. I forgot his name. He was a hot name for a while there.
He was
a hot prospect.
I kind of look at him and Leftwich kind of in the same light a little bit. I don't know why, but
I don't know, but I feel like God, what's his name? They'll say it in the chat though, but I feel like he had some good play designs, man. When he was with the Cowboys, they just didn't make it. But damn, I forgot his name. I can't even think about it.
I know I'm blanking on. I can picture him right
now.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So I mean, look. At the Cool Kev, Hondo is a glorified wine. He is. God damn it. That's why they keep him around, right? Dixon,
Crazy.
are you one of those in his comment section, man? Just messing with them because man,
Ellen Moore, there it is. Thank you,
Ellen
Robert.
Moore, yeah.
Ellen Moore. Yep. Oh man, our chat.
Fire Jimmy in the building. I appreciate you coming through. And so, Dre, for sure, we definitely talked about just the draft, the quarterbacks, all that stuff. Jonathan Studios in the building. I appreciate you coming through as well. And so what kind of ended with this, right? We got 4 games left, and that's where that's where it hurt. It's hard at this point. You see Aidan O'Connell go down. We showed the presser earlier, and they're basically saying now that, or AP said that that doesn't look good. So there's a good chance he's out. Our quarterback situation has gone from not good to shit to even shittier. Like that's kind of where we're at now. I think the only thing that we can kind of grab onto right now as it comes to the offense is feed Brock Bowers.
Got to
Feed him, give him what he needs to kind of make that statement of Rookie Player of the Year, and see if we can get some sort of accolades for him moving forward, because he's deserved it. He has. This is the first time in a long time we have hit on a first-round draft pick.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so shout out to Tom Telesco for doing that. We talked about the defense. But, we're sitting at number 1, and we'll kind of see how it rolls from this point forward. Chris, man, any I guess we'll hit it with this one last question. Steve, you just popped it up. Appreciate you. What about sticking with Scott Turner?
The thing is, I'm not mad at what I'm seeing from Scott Turner, to be quite honest. Again, he's just like AP. I mean, we just don't have that much to work with, but you can see a difference of just Scott's mindset. I mean, we're taking shots down the field, within the first 2 plays of the game. We're keeping, making sure that defense stays honest. I feel like our spacing of the plays are a lot better. There hasn't been too many like boneheaded play calls where you're just like, why did we run that play? But if we're going to get a new quarterback, man, it just, I would have to look more into Scott's background to see, what young quarterbacks he may have worked with. What kind of quarterbacks is he kind of he gets credit for developing, because we cannot mess up. We cannot mess up this season. When we get our young quarterback and pairing them with somebody that can really develop a quarterback. So I would have to do a little bit more research in his background, kind of what he did in Washington and the other places he was at. So more to come on that.
Yeah, I'm actually with you, because I'm with you. Like I need to go and watch more Scott Turner and how he was over with the Commanders back in the day. I mean, shit, I think he was with them back when they were the Redskins back in the day.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And here's my thing is, I think our offensive makeup is completely different today than it was when we started the season.
Oh yeah.
And is that why our offense looks a little bit better, right? I mean, this is our 5th game in a row that we've consistently had the same 4th or 5th game in a row that we have consistently had the same offensive line.
Offensive lineman. Yeah.
Chemistry is huge.
That's huge. Yeah. Yeah.
It's huge. We finally have a running back that can see holes. Zamir White was not that.
Yeah.
We finally have some healthy receivers, right, that have had plenty of time in the system now. Back when we don't know how long Devonta Adams was out, was mentally out of this team, right? That could have been since week 1, right? We had so many injuries, and all of a sudden Michael Mayer goes out, and I think we have seen Michael Mayer without question has helped this run game. We saw it last week with his ability to come in and block.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Luke Getsy didn't have that. Luke Getsy didn't have it, and it was gone like that. It wasn't like it was expected, and you can prepare for it. It was just gone. And we had so many games where Trey Tucker and DJ Turner were our number 1 and number 2 receivers, with a bunch of practice squad receivers, a bunch of practice squad tight ends. Harrison Bryant went out half game, one of the games. Like our offense was just trash personnel-wise, just because so many players were hurt, so many practice squads, And I mean, shit, against that Cincy game, 3 offensive linemen went down in one game.
Yeah,
And so
that was crazy. That was crazy.
we literally have had a 4-game stretch where we're actually somewhat healthy, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
We've had a good offensive line, better running back play, just more consistency now. Hard part, and we now know Luke Getsy was working with a quarterback that just could not push the ball downfield, point blank, period. Like Gardner Minshew could not push it downfield. Aidan O'Connell is now trying to, right? He's doing more of it. And when we broke down film, there was opportunities where we could have taken shots downfield, but Gardner Minshew saw it and just didn't pull the trigger.
It's true.
So that's where it's hard. I do think Scott Sanders is working with just more consistency. He's working with just more prepared talent around him, but it is tough because now Aidan O'Connell goes down, and now he's working with Desmond Ridder or possibly Carter Bradley, and then we'll really see just how this offense starts to look.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't know how these next few weeks are going to go, but we may not be playing against Derek Carr by the time we play them because he got hurt. I know he had concussion, but I think he hurt his hand as well. So I don't know how. I think it was his throwing hand. So I don't know how that's going to look.
Did he get hurt today?
Yeah, he got hurt at the end. Almost messed up my parlay because the Giants were about to beat him. I'm like, come on, Carr, man. But yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the rest of the season goes, man. See if we keep our number 1 spot or not. We'll see.
That's, I think, what everybody, I think we've come to realize. I mean, I remember last year, and I started doing this whole YouTube thing last year, right? And everybody just, if you even mention the word tank, people get pissed off saying you're not a true Raider fan, right?
That's how I was. I hated it.
And I think we have kind of come to the realization that it's like either, holy shit, we need to be either pick that top quarterback that whoever everybody thinks is a top quarterback, or be in that number 1 position to have the leverage to pick that top quarterback or drop back and stockpile the crap out of picks to be able to build this roster and start moving in the right direction. But I also think that this Raider fan base is going to be completely divided on whether or not who the quarterback's going to be that you pick, whether or not you drop back, and even if Antonio Pierce is the right guy to lead the next set of roster, the next roster next year. I mean, without question, this entire fan base is going to be torn. And so, Turkey Man, I appreciate you coming in the building. Loco 6 in the building as well. 2-15, baby. It's looking like that. What's funny is a lot of people were thinking because Aidan O'Connell did so good against the Chiefs, they're like, oh shit, here we go. Like he's going to win us probably 2, maybe 3 games. And now we're going to lose that number 1 draft pick.
Yeah.
So he's out now. Ain't got to worry about that.
Did they already announce that he's out for the season or something? I thought I saw someone say in the comments. I don't know if they mentioned anything or what the injury was for sure. So
no, I think
it didn't look good though. So I imagine he probably won't be back.
It didn't look good, and obviously AP went up on that presser and instantly said, doesn't look good.
Yeah.
So I think just getting carted off the field in an air cast, just not good at all. Yeah. And yes, Jose, as Raider fans, we're waiting for the season to end and go to the draft. But hey, I still will enjoy some games. I still want to watch the Raiders play every Sunday because, at least my kids look forward to it because every time we score a touchdown, they get some candy. That's the way I'm brainwashing them to be Raider fans. Jeff, man. We for sure divided. Yep. What to do on the draft. Without question. Big 183 appreciates coming to the building. Hopefully we can all, as a nation, stay down for the come up. Yeah. You just gotta stay, when it comes to it, you just gotta we're all ride or die Raider fans. We're still gonna be here.
Yeah, we're here.
We're just hoping shit changes. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Firefighter Jimmy 132. We're done for the season. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Larry Fleming, I appreciate you. I'm all for stockpiling picks for Tom Telesco. Yeah, with you. And yes, Wild Turkey, my kids don't eat too much candy. They don't. You know what I'm saying? So, but no, man, I appreciate everybody building. We've been rocking for 2 hours. We just recapped the entire game. We just wanted to make sure that we come on here. We went through the stats, kind of gave us our ins and outs of some of the things that we liked. Also, some of the things that we know is going to be an issue moving forward. We broke everything down. We appreciate everybody in the building. Chris, man, you got any final thoughts? I'll throw that to you and give the chat your last thoughts.
Yeah, man. We just got to just continue to, cheer our guys on. At the end of the day, they are out there playing hard. But just as fans, just so we're more knowledgeable fans, just continue evaluating what we see as fans as well. Want to see some of these guys, the Adam Butlers of the world, the Chasons of the world, guys that, we're kind of under the radar. Let's see what other guys are out there that can be part of the team next year that we want to see come back. So it is what it is, man. So we just got to keep cheering and get ready for this draft, man, and start watching these college prospects, because it's kind of what we got to live for right now.
That's what we'll be dipping into. Hey, college bowl season's around the corner, and this is where you like to see some of this competition.
For sure.
So, I'll tell you right now, for myself, we definitely have to look at it as a business at this point, because that's what the NFL is. And we definitely want to look at who we're going to hang our hat on moving into the next season, because these players are going to continue to play hard. Don't get me wrong, because these players, there's only one person on this roster that I think is locked up, which is Max Crosby.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody else is trying to either
audition tape.
Yeah, audition for another roster spot on this Raiders team next year, or for anybody that is trying to look for free agents next year. Like these players are going to continue to ball as much as can. So when we sit there and say, oh, they're competing for AP, maybe, but I'm not 100% sold it's always just on AP.
Yeah.
It's because they want to make sure that they can find themselves another team next year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good point.
Because if AP is no longer the coach next year, that means someone's going to come in and they're going to mess this thing up, right? I'm saying, like, they're going to switch it all up. They're going to bring in their guys, whether it's a different defensive scheme, different offensive scheme, whatever it is. They're going to want their guys. We all know that with new coaching staffs.
Yeah, and plus, and the first thing that those new guys are going to do, or the new coaching staff's going to do, is, hey, I want to watch the film of the team last year. I want to see what they're not going to care what the circumstance was. They're not going to care that Malcolm Kuntz was hurt, and so therefore the defensive backs have to cover longer. They don't care about none of that. They just want to see what's on the film, and that is your way of being able to audition for a job. So those guys are out there playing, man. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. So hey, I appreciate everybody in the chat, man. You guys have been consistent. You guys have been throwing. I apologize if I couldn't keep up with the chat, man, because you guys keep throwing the comments. Man. I know, and so I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button wherever you're at. I got Chris Protect the Show podcast. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, the like button. I'm 805 Raider, Real Talk Raider Nation. I appreciate you guys coming through. Have a great rest of your guys this weekend. Again, I appreciate all you guys in the chat. Have a great rest of your Sunday. We're going to be well on our way to a first-round draft pick. I think we all want it, and we're going to be there, and I hope you guys roll with us. So I appreciate you guys. Hey, and shout-out to Severe. Hopefully his boy won that Super Bowl today in that youth football league. So appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys on the next one. We're out.